And as you said, Wright, they found a way.
Yeah.
And they've got a set play goal again.
Yeah, judging by the way we were finishing today, it probably needed to be a set-piece goal. But again, the ball in from Martin Odegaard was something that, if we're going to really be critical about it, it should have been cleared. But in the end, they won the game, which is great. But I was a little bit more disappointed in the fact we've got to try and do more in respect of scoring goals. Because like once it's 1-0, Gaffer, as we all know, it's never done. But like we're just fortunate that Chelsea was so poor today again.
Yeah, no, very much so. I think they did enough, Arsenal. I think it was one of those performances where if you perform like that, they could have easily, against a better opposition on the day, probably would have lost the game maybe, because they were pretty ordinary themselves. But the set play has come up trumps for them. Slight change in what we said before. They hadn't scored for some games now from set plays where they were very successful, and they just changed it. They all went to the near post, caught Chelsea out a little bit, and the goalkeeper started getting engaged in the players that were around him, which he shouldn't have done. And they end up, that's the difference between, no points and getting the 3 points today. And it wasn't a great performance from Arsenal, but they'll be absolutely delighted. Play that average and win. That's what you need at this stage of the season. Yeah. Just to keep in that race, like we spoke before the game, you've got to still be in the race, just in case Liverpool do trip up.
Are you pleased with Mikel Merino? Because, as he said, I haven't played as a striker since the age of 8. He's been asked to do a job, and he's weighed in with a few goals now.
He has, and it's been brilliant for us because, again, you've got somebody who's coming in and trying to fill a role, like we've seen Kai Havertz do so well. But what's good about Mikel Merino in that area as well is that his touch and his link-up play is very good as well. And he is that focal point just in case you do want to go long. But again, the goal he scored today was because it came from a set piece. It's not like in the game he was like, as a forward, he was dangerous or anything, but he was a focal point in the body that caused them problems for us.
He's played there 7 times now in all competitions. He's got 4 goals.
Brilliant.
I mean, from a midfield player who's not played up there to... it's totally foreign to him, really.
Well, it is really, but that's a massive plus for the manager. It's almost like the manager said, well, we'll see how he does. Might have to pull him out after 2 games, but he's affecting the game in such a positive way. Sometimes as a man, you think, oh, that's another string to my bow. Yeah. And next time that happens, maybe next year possibly, we can play him up front. He knows he's done it before and he's done a really good job. And as Ian says, he's not a centre-forward really that you expect to be going on the back of people and getting in behind, but he does it in a very subtle sort of way. The header was a clever header, actually. I mean, that could have been a number 9 type of header, wasn't it?
The way he made the move for it as well.
I don't think he's just flicking that either to the back post, because he knows they've all gone into the near post. And I think the set play wasn't about making runs from there round the back and getting to the back post for a flick on. He actually guides that into the back post. I think it's a really clever header.
Yeah.
He's almost flicked his head at it towards goal rather than just a straight flick on so that you get a second ball. But we studied, Nkunku's position there. He's just got to stay there, look over his shoulder. A centre-forward going back, not knowing what to do really in that position. As the front shield, you don't let anyone across the front. And what does he do? He just comes back towards the pack of players and he just gets in front. It's a great header.
Yeah, it is a great header, but again, it's attention to detail from Nkunku's point of view because the manager's put him there for that specific reason. And that's cost them the game. But again, you look at it, and I would say like Merino's movement off of Reece James was great movement and the ball was perfect. Only because Nkunku didn't do his job.
Yeah, I think it was clever of Arsenal just to have a little change up. That caught Chelsea maybe. We analysed Sanchez as well, getting involved in the players. Why is he going there? He's getting dragged across to the near post. Look, he's pushing someone there. I don't know who's pushing.
Should be back on the line there, Gav.
As a goalkeeper, Ian, I'm thankful that there's an in-swing and I've got no one round me. Yeah. So I'm coming away, I'm pulling away from them players. I don't want to get engaged in them. If you put 3 players around him and it's going to be an in-swing, as a goalkeeper, you're not happy. Where he's thinking, really, I'm standing there thinking, great, I've got no one here. I'll come and punch that. I'll do whatever I need to do. He actually saves it if he's in the right position.
It was strange simply because, like you say, like the gaffer says, if you haven't got the players around you, like you've got their player, then your player in front of him trying to mark, it's brilliant for you. And if you look where he is, he's got so much space here. But he's gone over there to push. You think to yourself, no, just come back here, because from where Merino would have headed that, he probably would have caught it. Because it's such poor goalkeeping at this level. It's not good enough.
Also, Ian, no one does it. No one does it anymore. But you put a player on the back post, he clears it.
Yeah.
There's so many goals going the back post, and you think, why don't you just put one player there? You're defending your goal against the goalkeeper, against the
might as
corner.
well do it. He could do it. Look.
Yeah.
You got Neto, who could have picked up number 6. I know it's Gabriel, but if you've got somebody at the back, you should say, if you find yourself here, anyone, and the ball comes in, go on the back post, just as insurance. So from where you can see the player at the back there, whoever it was, there he is, number 4. Is that number 4? Number 6. Whoever number 6 there, should have just backed off onto the back. Yeah, Levi Colwell.
Colwell should have
just go on the back post. That's natural as a defender. Once the ball's coming in, for you to just naturally go towards the goal so you can stop that from going in. A lot of mistakes there.
Yeah. Catalogue by the sounds of it, from Chelsea's point of view.
Yeah, they'll analyse that. I was watching, because I was watching the next corner, and then Cuckoo goes in a better position, still square on, not on the half turn, which he should have been. And it was a poor ball in, though, but he clears it. Because he was in the right position in the front shield. No one gets across the front of you on that front shield. And if they're going to beat you, they've got to beat you over your head. So it's not a whipped-in ball. It's more sort of a floaty ball. Gives the keeper a chance, gives you a chance defensively. That's why you put a front shield in there. So he did the job a little bit better second half a couple of times, but it was really the delivery that was poor, rather than him actually being really switched on, looking at it at half time, someone showing him and saying, you've got to be on the half turn. You've got to see where runners are coming from. If you're square on looking at the taker, you don't know what's going on behind you. And, they've got to put that right. If you put an attacker back there, he's got to do the job.
Yeah.
He's got to become a defender for that corner.
Because like you said, and rightly says, which is a really good point, is even with the goal, if you look where Mikel Merino headed it from, he actually was bending down to head it. So it's not like we're talking about a ball that's coming. If you watch when he comes in, and Nkunku if he just goes to his left, he heads that back out for another corner or whatever it is. Because when you watch how low this ball is, by the time it comes into Merino, once they play it on, here we go. Right, look how low, he doesn't have to jump, look. He's actually bending down to get it. So it's an easy one to actually clear.
Just looking at that again, I think Merino looks to go on the back of Nkunku, and he sees Nkunku just backing off, and then decides at the last second just nip in front. I think he saw a gap there, went for that gap, and then at the last minute he just nips in front.
Yeah.
And that's the timing of the ball delivering. Look, let's have a look from this angle. You'll see it. He's having those little 50-50 back.
Yeah,
look, he runs it.
space,
He's going in behind,
bang.
Then he goes in front because that space is there.
Great movement right
all of a sudden,
Really good movement right at the depth there for him. Yeah. All because Nkunku's in the wrong position.
Yeah. But that's instinct that you were saying that perhaps until he was put up there, we didn't know that he had.
Well, the thing is, what we've seen is that he's a very intelligent player, because even when you do watch him, when he's linking up the plays, the way he holds it up, by the time it does get to him, I watched it again when they play PSV, by the time he gets it, he's so composed and knows where he's passing it. That's exactly what Arsenal need in respect of keeping the ball up in that third, is something that we don't do well, because we haven't got a focal point. And he's the one, Kai Havertz isn't that player neither, where he links the play like Al Merino can do it. But Merino can do it in a way where you can get there, because he will hold it and you can come and join him. And then all of a sudden, we're playing a bit further up.
And the other players will play to that strength when he's up there, because it's pointless, like you said earlier, trying to play balls in the channels and all that. He's not that type of player.
He's not going to be going off the back. It doesn't suit Odegaard, who wants to play that little ball, but it might suit other players that know that he looks like he can protect the ball. And when there's a midfield player, if you had a striker that was always going to protect it, you could make runs, and you don't think, is he going to give that? I won't make a run, because if I go and he loses the ball or it comes off him, they're breaking, and now I'm wasting my energy. I've got to track him back. Ball into the front man, he's holding it up. You think, now I can actually support that play, and it goes to the next level then, and you're on the front foot. So that's important and that's what happens when the new player comes. You have to find that out. They didn't know that. Arteta's thrown him in up front, but actually the players are going, he can play up there. We can make runs off him.
And I know what you mean. 1-0's never comfortable, but today was a day where you never really felt Chelsea were going to trouble Arsenal.
You did. You just feel like you could see, like I mentioned at the start, where Cole Palmer's not playing, where he would frighten me, just like Bruno Fernandes frightens you, because they can do something in the game now. Again, you're looking at a Chelsea side without Cole Palmer, they look very tepid, especially without Jackson, without Madueke, and then even if they had a Neto as well, them three up front with that pace, with Cole Palmer behind them, it's a whole different scenario for Arsenal. And a scenario I'm really pleased we didn't have to come up with today. But again, you know, you look at the way we were finishing as well. We should have done more to make it comfortable for ourselves. But Chelsea, they're not a million miles away. I think they need some experience in their team to help that young side. But then you do need something that's going to make sure that Cole Palmer can be able to express himself in the players that he's got around him.
They just looked a bit sort of rudderless. You know, they had no rudder to their game. They had no guidance. They had no feel. You never saw them sort of having a spell in the game where they had a pattern of play and suddenly they took the ball away from Arsenal. Arsenal on the back, no, that never happened once, really. And with the lack of experience, particularly in the back positions, you'd have thought Fernandes and Caicedo, those type of players, they've got to get hold of the ball and take the game by the... We're under the cosh here a little bit. We're not playing well, 1-0. Let's keep the ball. Let's get back in the rhythm of the game a different way. We haven't got Palmer. We haven't got the players that we want up front. They're out, so we've got to slightly play different, and that never really materialised.
I was a bit confused with their midfield because I didn't know, because Reece James was in there a lot, so he's probably the 6. So next to Caicedo, or is he the 6? And then Enzo Fernandez. So I didn't know how they were going to. Yeah, I didn't know how they were going to try and progress the ball because they haven't got the pace up front. They haven't got the players to play it through the midfield. So it was just going to be a matter of time. And if Arsenal were more ruthless, we could have shown them up for what they were today, because they were poor today, Chelsea.
OK, let's get some Chelsea reaction from their manager. Here he is, Enzo Maresca.
What are your thoughts after that 1-0 defeat?
But it's a shame. It's a shame. First of all, because we lost the game. And then because I think with the situation in this moment, you know, the amount of injury that we have, I think we compete very well. We were not far from get something from the game. But yeah, as I said, unfortunately we lost, but now we have the international game. We can recover more players. Romeo Lavia back today, so it's important, and we can push for the final sprint.
You were still in the game, weren't you, right until the end, really? Was it an improved second half for you?
Yeah, I think the first 20 minutes we struggled a little bit, off the ball and on the ball. And then after 20-25 minutes, I think we start to control the game. Second half, again, we were in the game until the end. But yeah, it's been a shame. The good thing is that we are in the right path, right direction. Now we have players that they come back from injury and we can go for the final sprint.
Having said that, did you create enough?
I don't think between us and them there was big difference in terms of clear chances. I think we are more or less in the same situation. You know, when you play without a proper 9 is difficult. Pedro Neto is helping us a lot. But for sure we could create something more. But in any case, I think the game was there until the end, and then at the end we lost. You know, from set pieces.
Describe to us Reece James' performance today. He played him in midfield. He got the ball, gave it nice and early. Is there enough creativity in there for you?
Yeah. I think Reece is doing well. Mo is doing well. Enzo is doing well for sure. When, as I said, you have in this moment we have 3 of our players out: Madueke, Jackson, and Cole Palmer. That they are the 3 that they score more goals. So it's normal that we are going to struggle a little bit, but overall I'm quite happy with the performance.
And what is the Cole Palmer situation? It was described as a muscle niggle picked up in training?
Yeah. The feeling is that he can be back for after the international break, and we'll see in the next days.
Will that affect international football for him?
Yeah, for sure, because his injury, he didn't play today.
You're on the right path, you say. Below you, it's incredibly tight, isn't it? All the teams pushing.
Yeah, that's why I think from now on is how also we manage a little bit emotion in terms of if you win a game, you see yourself close to the target. If you don't win, you see yourself far from the target. But until the end, it will be like this. We have still 9 games to go, but now it's time to recover energy for the final part.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, they're still in fourth, as I say, a point ahead of Manchester City in fifth, which could well be enough for Champions League football. In mid-December, they were 2 points behind Liverpool. Now they're 21 off the league leaders. But he thinks, Glenn, they're on the right path, and he was quite pleased with the performance today.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I could agree with him. On what I've seen there today, as I just said, they never really got hold of the game for even 10 minutes, where they had a pattern of play, and you put Arsenal on the back foot and you think, oh, there's a goal coming here. I don't see the creation that he's talking about. There was no creative chances there for me anyway, what I've seen. Cucurella had one, didn't he, where Raya got lucky. But no, I mean, it's difficult. They come on television, I've been in those shoes. You know, what's said in the dressing room sometimes is a bit sterner than what he's come out and said, protecting them a little bit there. But no, if he really genuinely thinks that's enough, then that's not going to be enough. They'll slip down that league, and that's the problem they've got, because there's a lot of teams chasing. It's going to be a real battle, isn't it, for that fourth and fifth spot?
Yeah, and in saying there wasn't much between them in certain situations, I think if Arsenal, when we go back again to the strikers and the chances and the conversion rate, if they were able, with how poor the goalkeeper was, if they were had their shooting boots on, I should say, they could have won that game very comfortably, because I can't remember any period in the game, apart from the Cucurella chance, where Chelsea done something to make me feel like, well, we're in trouble here. We need to see this 10 minutes out. I didn't see it from their midfield. I didn't see it from their build-up. I didn't see anything. So maybe, like the gaffer said, and the gaffer would know better than me, he said one thing in the dressing room and he's come out and said something else, simply because it is a young team. You don't want to come out and completely blast them. But at the same time, that seems to be, for them to be in fourth place, playing like this with their away record, I think it's a bit of a slight on the league at the minute.
They have 27 points left to play for. They've taken 2 from the last 21 away from home. As we sit here now, what percentage would you give for Champions League football?
I think they can still get in one of those 2 places here, fourth or fifth, where they're sitting. They're in the pole position. They need Palmer back playing well. I suspect...
And Jackson, gaffer, I think Jackson's a big one.
Well, what Jackson does is he stretches a team that gives Palmer that space in that area, in that arc, what I call. So that's a big, big plus if they get those 2 back. I mean, I'm not saying Jackson is a fantastic finisher, blah, 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 but he's got pace, and he will get him searching behind. Personally, I think Neto's got to play. I think he's a great player, but he's got to play in the right position. And I think to get back to that, he's got enough players in midfield in that deeper area to play and mess around with. Of course he has, with James going in there as well. Yeah. There's loads of options
Romeo
there.
Lavia, do you remember him?
Yes.
He was back on the bench today.
Back today. And, you know, and so get those players back. They can certainly get that spot still. But they've got to get recharged again. They've got to get playing on the front foot with a bit of confidence in the pattern of play. I didn't see a pattern of play. Earlier in the season, I thought, oh, they're back to their best again. They've got pace, they've got a good bit of steel about them, they've got some good youngsters that get tight. Away from home concerns me, how they're going to pick up enough. You know, it's a very delicate one for me. It's 50-50. Someone, they could drop a little bit like a stone, or someone could just pip them and get there ahead of them if they have a run.
You know, you say there was a spell there where the goalkeeper, he went long a few times. Remember when they were trying to press Arsenal in and tried to close them down, especially in the second half? I thought they should have went that way a lot earlier and put Arsenal under a lot more pressure to play out and try and win the ball higher. Because you've got Sancho, you've got Neto. They are quite skillful, tricky players. If they can win the ball closer to our goal, maybe they might get their chance that way, because I couldn't see any other way that they were going to do that, through build-up.
If they weren't finished in the top 5, which we think will be enough, or 4, would that be a bad season? Because Maresca said it's been their clear target since August to get back into the Champions League.
Yeah, I think for them it would be a poor season, in the sense that if that's their targets, if that's what they've said, then they would have underachieved. I would have probably put a little bit of Europa would do us, European football, an improvement out of the conference into Europa or Champions League would have been realistic for Chelsea this year. It's a stepping stone they've got to get. They're not going to go from there to there. They need little stepping stones to actually get there eventually. They've got a team that in 2 years' time we might be going, wow, what a team they've got here.
I was going to mention that. They have got the youngest average starting 11 in the whole Premier League.
Yeah,
this season.
Definitely.
Which
And in the sorry, Ian,
No, go on, go.
in the same area of the pitch as well. A lot of their youth is in defending, and away from home, you need that experience in the defensive way. You get found out a little bit, and when you come under the cosh, they weren't under the cosh tonight, but if they go into the Champions League or Europa in European, wow,
That's when the away. It's the away games
out.
that what we're seeing with this team and this young team. It's their away team performances. I still believe that if they can get a couple of experienced players, a Thiago signing, and maybe someone in the midfield to help that midfield.
Do you think that's in their module where they want to go?
Well, they're going to
the
need
way
to
they're
do-
recruiting.
Well, it doesn't seem. Well, it doesn't seem
The
like
latest
in
one from
this.
Sporting Lisbon is 17, isn't
Yeah,
it? You know,
but the thing is, it doesn't seem like this particular. The guys who are in charge at the minute are thinking that way. But when you look at the Chelsea team, the record, the fact that they're getting injuries, they've got a young side. They need experience.
couple of old heads.
They do need experience.
they number one priority. If you've got any success for any team, you need a good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
There's not enough.
That's a real worry for you at the moment.
Yeah, there's not enough confidence in either goalkeeper, so they've got to put that right in the summer without a doubt, and then it goes from there. It just those young defenders in the end, you get a bit uneasy. You can't trust the keeper, so there's a dislodgement there, and there's not that sort of feeling that you're a real unit. We're going to be hard to play against. We're going to be hard to score against. You don't see that at the moment.
And Steve, just a quick on that, because with the defenders, it's same with the forwards. If you're a midfielder and forward and you're not scoring, and you've got a goalkeeper that you're petrified of shots, then the confidence in the whole team takes a knock.
That's a really good point. OK, that's the Chelsea side of the story. When we come back, stay with us. We'll get all the Arsenal reaction from the Emirates Stadium, including his views.
Cal, I think it's fair to say last weekend there was a sense of frustration, but this weekend, is there more cause for optimism?
Yeah, it was, because we went to Old Trafford, we drew, and we are all very disappointed. And that's the standards that we set now. And today, I think we deserve to win the game. I think we're better than Chelsea. Really not concede anything apart from that strange save from David, and we should have do much more, especially with the amount of goals that we regained in the high press. But overall, very happy. It was a very important game.
Nothing has been mathematically decided. We talked about turning the screw before today's game. How important was that turn of the screw?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what you want to do. We play a top opponent. It's really a joy to analyse and how they play and how Enzo has coached them, the quality that they have. But yeah, we can face any opponent. We know that on the day, and the team play with an unbelievable attitude. I really like that. And yeah, we go to international break. We're on it.
After that international break, you have another opportunity to turn that screw I'm talking about. I want to ask you, you've been at the team like Manchester City, you've been out in front for a long time. Can the mindset start to create a few doubts in people's minds? If you turn the screw again, if you're in the Liverpool camp, can the mindset change?
The only thing we can do is win our matches, that's it. And that's what we are trying to do. Against Fulham after international break, we have another one. Try to win that one. If we do, we're going to be in a better position.
Mikel Merino gets your goal today. There's been a lot talked about your strikers, but you seem that you're finding a way. What is it that he shows you that tells you about the attitude of your team and the way he's adapted himself to that role?
Well, that is very strange. Obviously, we had 4 of our top players out for many, many months, and that's for any club. Normally, I went through the history of the Premier League. When that happens, the results of those clubs, none of them in Europe. That's what happened. Our team, you know, they have an incredible resilience. They really want to do it. He's never played in that position before. His work ethic, how much he's trying to do, and on top of that, he's scoring goals.
How much of a nuisance is he in that striker position? Because, as you say, he's not a natural striker by trade, but he's making life difficult for people.
Very difficult, and he has other qualities. When he's set in the box, he's a really dangerous player. He can help us on that, on set pieces. When we have to attack at low block, when the opponents are really high press as well, his movement, he's intelligent to fix people, to bring people in the game. He's top, so really plays, because even physically, it's a very different game to play as a 9. The way he's adapted and his work rate, phenomenal.
Goal comes from a set piece today. You'd made set pieces a speciality in the early part of the season, but lately the goals had dried up from them. So how big a positive was it to see a goal come from that?
Very good. It would generate again belief that we can do it again. It was a good goal, and yeah, you want to be a threat from every phase of play, and if we have that weapon as well, even better.
Just finally, you mentioned the international break. Bukayo Saka after the break, you talk positively about him.
I'm in.
You're in. You're still here. That's the important thing. Has he got a chance?
Yeah, he's got a good chance, yeah.
Good on you. Well done.
That's brilliant. Personality from Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
That was alluding to, of course, a week ago when Wright and I were in the studio with Owen, and he did something similar at the end. He didn't like the last question at Manchester United.
Yeah,
Did he? So,
it was a lot better today.
Yeah.
A win does that to you, though, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you a lot happier for that interview after the game, I can assure you, yeah. But no, it was good. That was like a little bit of a one for the defender, one for himself.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. But you can hear what he's saying, you know, with the players missing, he thinks any team in Europe would be badly affected by the numbers he hasn't got.
Yeah, but for some reason, Steve, like people, you assemble a team at the start of the season, you hope that they stay fit, but then when players do get injured, for some reason, you mention it and say, yeah, well, everyone gets injuries. And yeah, they do, but it affects you. Look at Tottenham. It's affected Tottenham. It affects everybody. That's affected Arsenal this season with what Arsenal's ambitions were to try and finish the season. There's no way you expect to finish the season without getting injured, which happened for us last season. We had our main players all fit. But this season, unfortunately, we've got injuries to players, and everybody else, like he rightly mentioned, is like pitching in to try and do their job. This is like what Mikel Merino's done today. And you just have to hang in there every game and see how it goes for yourself.
It's like a bonus for him, for Arteta, that, because he would never have said, let's have a look at Merino as a centre-forward in pre-season, just in case. That wouldn't have come into his mind. Yeah, but he gets forced down that road.
But what Wrighty's saying is it's not a bonus he really wanted to do. He'd much rather have Kai Havertz there.
Oh, of course,
Gabriel
of course.
Jesus
Every manager wants your top players on the pitch. But the fact is that he's now going, where do I go for this striker? Where do I go with a semi-strike? And he's gone, you know what, let's have a look at him. And he's done brilliant.
You think Gaffer's probably looked at his technical capability because he's always looking around. He's very good on the ball. And you think to yourself, you know something, maybe I can move him up front because he takes care of the ball up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you were saying earlier on, Gaffer, about holding it so as people could come and support you. And he's obviously got that about his game.
Yeah. In terms of keeping going, what he said, we just need to keep asking the question of Liverpool. They've got within 12 now, having played the same number of games. But I was saying to Wrighty last weekend, it's important to finish as close to Liverpool as possible, to finish second, to finish on the up when you're looking at recruitment as well, aren't you, for next season?
Yes, of course. I mean, that's it's important that, though Ian said that he felt before the game that they're going to be looking over their shoulder. Well, they've got to make sure, as I was saying, they've got to be there just in case there's a big trip up from Liverpool. Psychologically, they've gone, as I said, they've gone out of the Champions League. If they lose today in the League Cup, they're out the FA Cup. Now it's from 4 trophies to 1. And they're favourites, they're hot favourites, but it's in their hands. And if they do trip up, Arsenal have be kicking themselves if they take their foot off the pedal and put all their energy and all their thoughts into Real Madrid in the Champions League. So they've got to just be hanging around. They've got to be there just in case Liverpool do go bang, bang, 2 losses in the league. Yeah. Suddenly, them points become, now there's pressure. But they've got to be there putting that pressure on. If that gap today had gone to 18 end of story. And it probably still is end of story, but you've got to be out there with a fact of, like, what do we do next year? Who are we going to bring in next year to improve? We had injuries in that position. Yeah, we have got to get a striker. Everyone's been telling us, but I do need a striker in there. And we go hell for leather to get the right player.
You know, I'd love it to be, because I've almost resigned myself to the fact that it's not maybe going to happen for us this season. We might finish second again, but I'd love it to be where, you know, Liverpool did for some reason slip up 2 games. Arsenal, you know, and then we have to play them in May.
You're at home to Fulham next in a couple of weeks. They've got the Merseyside derby, you know, just
Well,
suddenly it's 9 and then
it just doesn't feel like it's going to be. No, it should be that easy like Liverpool. I just hope that there's a twist in it, and Arsenal, like the gaffer said, because this is the main thing, are there to pick up any pieces.
Yeah. They've got to be. And they owe it to themselves every week and week out. They're not They're not got their best players out there at the moment. So you've got to find a way through. It's like even in matches when you're not playing well, you've got to find a way to win. They won today.
Yeah.
You know, be it from a set play, but they've won. They found a way to win. You've got to get that on a run of games when you're not playing at your best, because you're not going to play at your best if your best players are not playing.
Yeah.
But you've got to find a way somehow. You've got to change. I like the fact that they scored the set play differently. It was a different set play. We hadn't seen that all season. Near post, bomb, and they get the goal from it. So that's a positive for them, really is.
Let's nip back to the Emirates. William Gallas, double Premier League winner, played for both of these clubs with distinction, of course. Spoke to us before the game. What did you make of it today, William?
I think Arsenal did the minimum today. They get the 3 points. I think that was the most important for them. They scored on the set pieces, and in the second half, it looked like they let Chelsea to have the ball and just to defend and try to play in counter-attack.
And as we were saying, they've got to find a way with the injuries at the moment. Mikel Merino has suddenly weighed in with 4 goals in 7 games.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for him, you know, and because he play now in front, he could score a few goals. But as we know, to play against some teams, you know, for example, today it was Chelsea, he scored 3 goals before against small team. It's okay, but when you have to play against biggest club, it will be difficult for him maybe to score.
Yeah. I must ask you, in terms of that set-piece goal that settled it, if you were in the Chelsea back 4 today, William, how disappointed would you be with the way they conceded that goal?
I will be always disappointed because you can't concede a goal like this, you know, to let one player to go in front and to get the ball. You need to have more communication between your teammate, and what happened today, you know, for Chelsea, it was not enough. And I'm sure the manager, when he went back to the dressing room, he was upset.
We were talking about Arsenal finding a way to score goals. Without Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson today, 2 shots on target. They were both from Marc Cucurella. Short term, without Palmer, is that a concern in terms of scoring goals for Chelsea?
I think they have to find a solution, because today we saw, you know, when Cole Palmer is not here, it's very difficult for Chelsea to create things, and it's not enough, especially for the club like Chelsea. But now they have to think about what is going to happen for the next season. If they have to buy that striker who can score at least 20, 30 goals for them, because I'm sure the next season they will try to compete for the title. So they have to find the right solution.
Indeed. Thank you very much indeed, William.
Thank
Good
you.
to speak to you. Enzo Maresca, only a couple of weeks ago, actually, when I was doing a game at the Bridge, said to me, we do not want to be over-reliant on Cole Palmer. As good as he is, we have to, even when he's in the team, we have to find goals from other areas.
Absolutely. I think you've got goals out of, you know, Neto should be a player that can score goals, you know. And Cuckoo, when he comes in, I don't understand why he didn't play down the centre, but he's got to become a goal scorer. You know, that's the reason why he was there, and he's had injuries, but he was coming on from the bench, and I'm thinking, oh, he's a good replacement as a number 9, but he's playing out wide, and it's almost like I feel there's a semi sort of solution there, but they've not really gone with it with him as a number 9, so that then Neto can play wide and they can have the right and the balance it off, and if Palmer's playing, then you can release him, because he's got a little bit of pace, isn't he? He's not a slouch. Yeah. So I didn't understand that. I think. But they've got to, you know, Cucurella's coming in and scoring goals, strangely enough. But Reece James is one that I think, if he's going to play in that central midfield player, Fernandes, they've got to come up with some important goals. Yeah. Those type of players, the emphasis is on them, because Palmer is, rightly so, he was never going to keep that standard that he's set for a whole season. And now, you know, the fact that he's got a slight injury and he rests for a couple of weeks possibly will do him the world of good, actually. I'm not saying that that's the reason why he's been pulled out, but he didn't play today. If he'd have been fit, I'm sure he'd have played. But that will do the lad. He looks like he needs a rest. He needs to be away from football for 10 days, training, just get his mind back together, and he'll go again. He's such a good player. And I think that'll work in their favour, I really do.
Especially when you hope that before the season's out for Chelsea, if they've got any chance of getting into the Champions League, and with it being 5 places now, it's a great opportunity, especially as they're not playing well, their away form's poor, they're playing poor. I thought it was a poor performance. If they can get Jackson back and Madueke back, and then, obviously put Cole Palmer back in the team, I think that then gives them back their edge in the way that they were beating teams at the start of the season and how quickly they were breaking on teams and how they were scoring goals with ease. So they need to get that going as soon as possible because they've got the players to be able to do it. And this season's a massive opportunity for someone to get into that 5th. Massive opportunity.
I just think with the away performances and the lack of points that they've got, which is bad, isn't it? It's poor.
2 from 21.
2 from 21. That's not good enough. So if you just keep playing away from home, possibly they got the players to play a back 5. They could go into a back 5, a back 3 in possession, and put your wing back. So I'm thinking you got to look at that just away from home to start making it different for the opponents. But at the moment, it seems this is a pattern. 2 from 20 odd points is not good enough. We're just going to keep playing that way. We've got injuries. No, change the shape. Perhaps not at home at the Bridge where you want to go a back 4 and then get more bodies forward, but change the shape. They've got the right players to do it. Reece James can play wing back if you want. Cucurella's perfect for a wing back role. He's got the back 3 there. You can mix and match and do what you want in midfield if you want to play slightly different up the top. So for me, that's what I would be looking at, just away from home. Play differently.
Sounds
interesting. Let's go back to the Emirates. Let's speak to the man who won the game, Mikel Merino, the match winner. Mikel, good to see you. How good does that feel today? Winner in London Derby.
Hello, good afternoon. It feels amazing. Always winning at home, even more in a London derby against a really good side. I think we are really happy. It was a tough battle today. 1-0 win for us, clean sheet again. So buzzing for the result, and hopefully we can get a momentum after this game. And luckily for us, we have now international break, but it's more time to savor the victory.
Mikel, how are you finding having to play up front, having to use different style into what you're normally used to, and having the pressure of having to be the guy that maybe scores the goals for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's way different to playing as a midfielder, but I don't feel that pressure, to be honest. I think not being a striker is relief for me because I don't feel the pressure like I should score every single game. The main thing for me is trying to help the team in the small details, from the pressing to positioning myself in the best spots for my teammates to be better, maybe drop when it's needed to get the ball and give some calmness with possession.
Yeah.
So it's a different role to what I'm used, but I think I'm adapting really good.
Yes.
Mikel, Glenn Hoddle here. Congratulations on the 3 points. Just on the goal, normally the pack of 5 go to the back post. You changed it today. You flooded the near post and then you get across that front man. Did you just flick it to an area or were you trying to score?
Well, to be honest,
He was trying to score.
I was trying to get the ball in an area closer to the goal.
Yes.
Obviously, in that situation, you don't really know where are the spaces. You have the small box, the six-yard box reference, so you try to flick it and put it near the goal. If somebody's there and can make a tap in, it's great. If you score directly, it's great. But I think the tough part for me is just to adapt the body and put the right shape to try to flick it. And I think I did it, and I was lucky today.
Yes.
And in that role, 7 games in all competitions, 4 goals. You must be delighted with that since the manager asked you to take up the reins.
Yeah, surprised. I think with this team, we have so much quality with the players around the striker that it makes the job easier for me. I'm not focused on scoring goals, as I said before, but they keep coming, so they're welcome.
And do you feel finally that responsibility up there in the absence of others? Are you thriving on that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody feels their responsibility when someone of the big names that we have on the team is missing. Everybody has to step up, and now it's my turn as a striker. Next game could be the turn of other player, but the main thing is that everybody, takes responsibility and tries to do a better job, get together. And now I'm doing it. It's my turn to try to help the team. The coach asked me to play in this position, and whatever the team needs.
Well, you certainly helped them today. Match winner. Well done. Thank you very much indeed. Good to speak to you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Shane.
That's Mikel Merino at the Emirates. Now, before we move on, Wrighty talking about his goal there, we've gone back to 1993, 94 actually, 93-94 season, to give you this to look at compared to Mikel Merino's today. Who does the header better?
Yeah. I think I've done it much better than Mikel Merino.
Well, I think the opposition manager that day should have done his homework better, personally.
I'm just looking at it thinking, I know that kid. I was manager. I said, no, I know what I said before the game. I said, let them cross it because Wright, he can't head the ball.